attempted murder. Little did she know that she was signing her death warrant. In retaliation for identifying him, Quintana, in connection with fellow gang members Abel Gallegos and Rene Rosales, lured her into a motel, kidnapped her, shot her multiple times, and killed her. As if this brutality was not enough, Rosales and Gallegos proceeded to pour gasoline on her corpse and set it ablaze. Following investigations, the murderous trio was arrested and charged to court with more than 30 witnesses testifying and an overload of evidence. It didn't take long before the court reached a conclusion and sentenced them. Before this case, Rene Francisco Rosales had been convicted 6 times on felony charges. For this crime of tampering with a deceased human body, conspiracy to commit murder, being an accessory to a crime, and tampering with evidence, he was sentenced to more than 120 years in prison. Quintana, who the police identified as a chronic criminal, was sentenced to life imprisonment.
This was a horrific crime. I am struck by the casualness in which it was committed, the absolute disregard. This is the result. This is where you will end up.
Abel Candy Gallegos was sentenced to life imprisonment without possibility of parole, plus an additional 163 years for second-degree kidnapping, retaliation against a witness, first-degree murder with intent and after deliberation, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, tampering with a deceased human body, possession with intent to manufacture or circulate a controlled substance, among other charges. During their sentencing, the judge expressed shock at such brutality. Still, Abel and his cohorts showed no remorse. Lisandro Posada Vasquez. Lisandro and 4 other members of the MS-13 gang were charged with the murder of Raymond Wood. Lisandro and his group tricked the 17-year-old Wood into selling them marijuana. They drove the teenager from Lynchburg to Bedford County and brutally massacred him. They knocked him unconscious, strangled him, plunged the knife into him one after the other, and cut off his right hand. Lisandro was charged with and pleaded guilty to aggravated murder, abduction for financial benefit, and gang participation. He was sentenced to life imprisonment for aggravated murder and an additional 10 years for gang participation and affiliation. 2 of his murderous gang members who joined in killing Raymond were sentenced to life in prison. The other 2 were handed decades in prison after being found guilty of murder. No remorse for his crimes during the trial, although he came forward early and accepted the responsibility. What do you think about these gang leaders and their reactions in court? Let us know what you think.
This is where you will end up, with your family and friends crying as you're let out of the courtroom to serve the rest of your life in prison.
Notorious gang members have spent their lives immersed in the criminal underworld, committing heinous crimes and evading law enforcement at every turn. But now, they face the reality of spending the rest of their days behind bars. How do they feel about this prospect? Do they regret their choices and the path they've taken, or do they remain defiant in the face of their punishment? Join us as we delve into the minds of these notorious criminals and see how they react to the prospect of a life sentence.
I wouldn't be here where I am now.
George Geweld Thomas. Easily one of South Africa's most dangerous gang leaders, George Geweld Thomas is a name that instills fear in the hearts of civilians and rival gang members. The name Geweld means violence, and Thomas doesn't bear the name for fun. Other gang leaders might be orchestrating robberies or murders from their hideouts, but not Thomas. The fearsome gang leader orchestrated about 4 murders from inside the prison.